Today in the crypto space, we see the market taking a bit of a dip to the downside. Bitcoin down approximately 3%, Ethereum down approximately 5% below the $4,000 level, and the rest of the crypto space, these altcoins are deep in the red. And of course, we have lots of good opportunities here, but we don't know, should we be buying the dip right now, waiting for a continuation to the downside, or are we going to get a bounce any moment now to continue the bull run to the upside? In today's video, I want to talk about the general market. I want to use Bitcoin as a leading indicator, but more importantly, I want to focus on Bitcoin today, guys. That's it. I want to see what Bitcoin is up to, and ultimately, if it can give us a signal to buy the dip. So you know what? Let's talk about the news. Let's analyze the charts, and let's strategize to capitalize. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and let's get right into it, guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome. On the channel, we talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the altcoins, looking for opportunity. Whether we go up or down, bearish or bullish, it doesn't matter. All we want to do is stay one step ahead of the market so that we can capitalize on any of the volatility. And if you appreciate the strategy, subscribe to the channel, click the bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, including the live streams at 8 p.m. EST, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Guys, if you have any projects you want me to cover here on the channel, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. You can hit me up on the socials. The links are in the description. Better yet, guys, join the Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. The best part is it's absolutely free. All right, guys, let's begin. Let's see what's going on here. Ultimately, we do see a red day. Guys, it's definitely red. Now, is it a double-digit dip day? Absolutely not. Not yet. However, I guess a lot of us are thinking, are we going to continue down? We're going to do our best here to kind of navigate what's been happening in the last 24 hours, ultimately, coming up with a plan and a strategy. But you know what I've been saying in the last little while. Guys, if you've been with me here on the channel, you know that I've been saying it's time to be careful. It is time to ensure that you have capital on the side ready to buy the dips. Now, of course, we're getting our first signals of a potential rollover here, for a bigger rollover than expected. I feel like the market needs to feel a little bit of pain because we've been super euphoric, super profitable, and ultimately this is usually a sign where maybe things need to cool off a little bit and get a bit of a rollover. Now, if that's the case, you're going to be very happy if you have cash on the side. You would be very happy if you put stop losses in any risky positions. You would have been happy if you took profit on any short-term trades to the upside. Taking profit, protecting those gains, and of course protecting your initial investment was the objective, because we had to be like ninjas, get in and get out. And that's exactly what we've been doing in the last week or so. Now, all of a sudden, we're in a zone where it's like, okay, we've been very defensive. Now, at what point do we start getting offensive? Meaning getting aggressively back into the market with some of those, with some of that dry powder that we've been collecting over the last couple of weeks. And I think that we have to be very critical as to where Bitcoin eventually finds its bottom. Because as soon as Bitcoin finds its bottom, guys, there's no doubt in my mind that we are going to continue this altcoin season, and we are going to continue a huge rally up to a much higher levels here in this market. So we got to be prepared here, because this could be our last opportunity to deploy big capital for some big gains. We get retracements in bull markets, and this is potentially one of our first major retracements before we continue upwards. Okay, so I'm keeping this all in perspective, that we are currently looking a little bit slumpy here. If you see the overall market cap, it did come down a little bit. It's only down 5.3%. It's looking for a break of character by breaking below that low, the previous low, right into here. But what interests me the most out of all of this is the volume. And this is something that, we should be using as a metric to kind of gauge whether the market is interested in this dip. Market participation is evident clearly because the volume has increased as the market cap is falling. So there is a sell-off. People are selling off clearly with that volume. Okay, so let's just keep that in mind. If the sentiment right now is sell pressure, what do you think is going to be happening to the rest of the market? Okay, so let's go through the top 100 real quick, and then we'll take a look at Bitcoin chart and make some inferences on what we could expect in the immediate short term. Bitcoin, rolling over, down 3%. Ethereum doing the same thing. You got to admit that Ethereum's price action looked a lot better, a lot stronger than Bitcoin, obviously. And of course, as it is a smaller market cap project, obviously it is going to be a little bit more volatile, and we're seeing it dip down a little bit more than Bitcoin. At this current moment, I do anticipate that the Bitcoin dominance should be running back up for that back test that I've been talking about on the live streams. Guys, join me live tonight at 8 p.m. p.m. EST. We'll talk about the Bitcoin dominance. We'll talk about Ethereum. And if you have any projects that you want to request that I take a look at the chart, guys, that is a great time and place to do that. I will definitely be putting your requests in top priority. So join me live tonight at 8 p.m. EST. But in the meantime, we have to be aware that the market in general as an aggregate is looking or showing signs of weakness. XRP, okay, coming down approximately 8%. We have Solana rolling over. We have Cardano coming down for a lower low, as you can see, structurally speaking, on this 1 hour fractal, 1 hour time frame fractal. We see that happening. Everything is rolling over now. Everything Ethereum based is rolling over. Altcoin is rolling over. Everything is rolling over, guys. There's no point of me going through this in an extreme amount of detail, but you can see some projects are down 10%. Some of them a little bit more, 11%. We're getting into that double-digit territory that usually marks for me the opportunity to start buying. Okay, so what's most important to me is getting signs of support on Bitcoin and even in ETH, for example. I want to see both of the heavyweights up there, definitely showing us a level of a bottom, that it hit its bottom. Now, there's some good ones still. Look at Solana Swap, SOS is up 61%. It's definitely an anomaly, guys. I wouldn't be using this as a signal. I have no idea what this is. I'm assuming it's some sort of swap, some sort of DeFi, an exchange of some sort. It's doing great, congrats, but ultimately, look beyond it, right? Look at the general market. It is down, I would say between 5 to 10% easily throughout the market, and these are opportunities definitely to take full advantage and expect, some support and then buying the dip at those support levels, because until then, you run the risk of trying to catch a falling knife as the hang time, look at this, just total hang time right now, rolling over to much lower levels. And you can use exchange tokens like KuCoin and Gate. And what's BGB? Let's see if I can find that, because it's been doing very, very well lately. The BitGet token, I want to keep an eye on that one. You see, okay, it's holding pretty good. It's been up 62% in the last 7 days. Now, if we see this thing roll over, it might give us another indication that maybe the market is ready for a bit of a dip here, guys. As you can see, red, and we're going to be taking a look at Bitcoin. So let's do it, guys. I know you're here to talk about charts, so let's get right into it. Bitcoin, what is Bitcoin doing? Guys, Bitcoin is giving us a fire sale throughout the market. And ultimately, this is what the question is. Should we be taking full advantage of the fire sale now, or do we expect it to roll over a little bit more? Let's get into this a little bit more detail here. So definitely, a pullback is a pullback, and pullbacks are obviously an indication that you're not buying the tops. But when you look at the daily time frame, big picture, Bitcoin is not in a bad state at the current moment. That's a reality. We're still making a higher low as we speak. We've gotten a dip like this before. Let me zoom in here a little bit and show you. I'm going to, keep it real with you guys, because I know there's bearishness, and I'm a bit excited right now because I definitely want to buy dips. I want to accumulate. I want to do all that kind of stuff. But I got to be real. The reality is as of now, we made a higher high, which is fine, and we're coming down, and this low where we are right now, although it's not done, right, as of now, it is a higher low. So we're still doing good. We're still okay. We're still in the trend. The trend is your friend until the end. So let's reuse this and kind of show you that this is a broadening rising megaphone pattern, right? It is a bearish pattern. Ultimately, we do expect it to start breaking down. And as we speak, it's still pushing down, unfortunately, but it is, okay? Now, we do have volume gaps here on the daily that we're going to keep an eye on, right? We have the trend that we're keeping an eye on. We have the volume gap that's right here. But ultimately, this is not enough of a dip for me, personally speaking, unless we see some of the prime altcoins that I'm interested in come to a level that I'm interested, right? As of now, I'm going to be very critical, because really the magic happens right here at about $87,000, 86,500. If we can get down to this level, I would entertain buying big bags of whatever I can get my hands on. Okay, that's the reality. But in the short term, I can totally see Bitcoin getting a bounce here. Why not? Confirming another higher low. Now let's get onto lower time frames for a second, because we might see a little bit more. And you can see that it's very critical. This level is very critical. Let me just kind of make it a little bit more valid. Do our best here. We got some top, stop. We're currently at a very important inflection point. Previous levels that I identified way early, we're coming back below them. Diagonal trend lines coming back below them. We have the volume gap getting through them, and we got support on the 400 EMA, on the 200 EMA on the 4 hour, right around here, 92,000. If we can get to this level and get a bounce, maybe we hold. But really, guys, the volume gap here is what concerns me. So the short-term target, really where I get really excited, is 87,000, like I said. But what about if, guys? What about if the market really wants to bring in some pain? You know, the if is this: if it breaks below 86, 87, which of course I am not hoping for, and I'm hoping that we can get the fire sales we need with a drop to 80, like again 86, 87. If it doesn't happen and we fall through this volume gap, there's a lot of empty space here to allow the price to fall down to about 77k without much support. There's a little bit, a note of volume right here at 80, a little bit of volume right here looking left. You can see that. And of course, if we start looking at previous price action, what do we have looking left, guys? What do we have? Nothing. Emptiness, right? Because that's what happens in price discovery. So all we really have really at this current moment is the hope that we have support at 86, 87. Anything below that, the next target is about 77. So what would I be doing here? The reality is I will be deploying capital here, especially if I see the oscillators oversold. Now, I could wait for the daily oversold conditions. Let's see what the oscillators look like right now on the daily. You can see the purple line is trekking to the downside. I'm going to make these a little bit bigger, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to expand this. I know my TA is a little bit, it looks like a piece of art at the current moment. Lots of lines, lots of colors, but it works for me, guys. It works for me, so that's all that matters. And hopefully I can provide some clarity to you guys as I go through this. As you can see, price is definitely making higher highs on the price action. Momentum, purple line, is making lower lows. The expansion is definitely giving us confluence that, you know, the expansion is tapering off. Okay, definitely tapering off. Now, in the meantime, we did see that the volatility line did come down to oversold conditions, and we did get a pop to the upside. We got a quick Uno reverse right into here, which is unfortunate, of course, because usually we like to see the volatility get overbought again and then oversold and overbought. You get what I mean? But ultimately, this is what's happening. We're getting a quick sell-off. Now, all indicators, including this one, the synergy signal indicator, guys, I got links in the description if you're interested. It's a custom indicator that I've been using very successfully in the last little while. So if you want to know more about it, there's links in the description, and join the Discord because I got lots of information about it. But if we continue breaking down, and because it's a lagging indicator, it's going to take some time for all these oscillators to show up and to kind of resemble the price action. Okay, so it's just a little bit of time, especially that we're looking at the daily. So again, I would expect this purple line to get oversold, right, on the daily. And if it does, that's the best opportunity to buy. We don't know when that's going to happen, right? We don't know how long it's going to take. We don't even know that if it's going to get, if the price gets to 87, 86, if that means it will be oversold by then. And if it's not, and we're in the chop zone, let's say hypothetically speaking, or midway, maybe about 40, and it's not completely oversold, however, price hesitates right here at 87, we run the risk that eventually it does get oversold, all the way oversold below the 30, and eventually falls through the volume gap. So what we really want to do is see how the price reacts if it does get down here, how it's reacting, and how it's represented on the momentum. Is it all the way oversold? Great. We got a good area to start buying the dips and accumulating with confluence oversold conditions, horizontal support. We wait for bullish divergences. We wait for the volatility to also be oversold down here, the orange line. We see an expansion coming in, maybe a nice green expansion as we have had in the past, coming in right here. We get in, we deploy, we get going, and we see an EMA cross to the upside, green histogram bars. You get it. We look for all the confluence that we need, particularly and more importantly, you know, a structure here that we can get in with a great risk to reward ratio, right? We want a pivot point structure at whatever level that we hold support, whether it be here where I put that squiggly bottom at the on the chart, or even down here, whatever it is, guys. We cannot hate this dip. We need to take advantage of this dip, because ultimately this could be the last major buy order for the remainder of this bull run. Okay, the last call, the last opportunity, and obviously it's not a bottom, right? We're just talking about a nice retracement. Now, what's most important out of all of this is that we're using Bitcoin as a leading indicator. Keep in your mind, what is going to happen to the altcoin market if Bitcoin hits 67 or even 77? What is going to happen to the altcoin market? It will give you the best opportunities ever for this bull run to deploy capital. So how much capital do you need to actually take advantage? That is up to you guys. Have cash on the side. Be prepared for that scenario. Again, because if it does happen, it will be quick and strong. I expect a quick recovery. Now, one more thing that I want to bring to your attention is this: the possibility. Let me just quickly tidy up here so we don't leave too much of a mess here on the chart. But what about if we come back to the chop zone, which is the 50 mark, and hold support like we've done before? Right? We do this quite often where, in bullish conditions, retracements don't get completely oversold. If we get into the chop zone right here, and we go sideways a little bit, what I would be doing is dropping on the 4-hour. I would be dropping to the 4-hour and now using the 4-hour to see, did we get oversold? Right? And let me just rearrange this a little bit. Now, if we will see that the 4-hour will get oversold a lot quicker. Obviously, it's a lower time frame. And if we are oversold while it's in the chop zone, I may put in some bids to anticipate a pop to the upside, just on the 4-hour. And that would mean that if I were able to buy oversold conditions here and we got overbought again on the 4-hour, I have some critical decision making to make once it gets oversold. Is, do I trail up a stop loss well into profits? 100%. Because on the 4-hour, we can even do another bounce here and still come down eventually and roll over and continue that follow through on that bearish divergence that we've been seeing. You can see higher highs on the price action, lower highs on the momentum. It's also on the daily. It's also on the trend oscillator right down here, and the expansions on the trend oscillator are not looking the greatest, guys. You can see that the EMAs are slowly rolling over, red histogram bars to the downside, and the purple bullish expansion is done here on the 4-hour. So there's a lot of indications to me that ultimately in the short term, Bitcoin is not looking the greatest, and I am not willing to take risk on Bitcoin. Again, back to the altcoin market, we're using Bitcoin as a leading indicator. Now, if there are some altcoins that you are bullish on that are showing strength at horizontal support levels, there's nothing wrong with taking a trade. Of course, even in bearish conditions, we could still see pops to the upside. Obviously, you're going against momentum. You're going against the trend. Obviously, in the short term, we're red right now. We're definitely coming down. Getting into long positions is quite dangerous, in my opinion, but at least your risk-to-reward ratio is healthy. And if you're going to get into long positions, make sure you can put a stop loss at a level where you can protect yourself. Like, for example, right now, what about if we get a bounce here on Bitcoin on the diagonal? You put a stop loss right underneath here. It might come up for a bit of a bounce, and then you exit. You exit at the next level of resistance, which is that nice psychological $100,000 level. You exit if we are lucky enough to see a $3,000 bounce on Bitcoin at the current moment. You get what I mean? So ultimately, in the short term, especially after these red days, be very quick if you're bullish, and if you're bearish and you want to start shorting the market, you know what, guys, look for great risk to reward opportunities. In my opinion, right now is the best time to get into shorts. Obviously, not financial advice. The market looks a little bit frothy out there. On any relief that we get to the upside as a confirmation high, a lower high, it would be time to start expecting follow through to the downside and entering shorts in the immediate short term. Just quick shorts to the downside. Get in and get out. Don't be holding these long, because in the big picture, you'll be shorting a bull run. That's dangerous. However, if you're experienced and you know what you're doing, it's not bad of an idea to be trading the bias, which in the short term is to the downside. All right, guys, so we did pretty well. Just a reminder, I'm going to be live tonight at 8 p.m. EST talking about crypto news and price action. I cover all kinds of different projects. If you have any projects you want me to take a look at, you can request them, and I look for setups, guys. We look for bullish setups where we can get in, whether long or short, it doesn't matter. We can get in with a great risk to reward ratio, and since we've been seeing this pivot in the next little while, we could be entering some few shorts to hedge against the losses on our altcoin bags, on our spot bags in the next couple of days. All right, guys, thank you for stopping by. If you haven't yet, slap the like button. It does really help out with the algorithm. If you want to follow me on those socials, the links are in the description. Better yet, guys, join that Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. The best part is it's absolutely free. Take care, guys. Have a good one. And don't forget, buy the div.